Hey, welcome to Weenie Trades. Let's prepare for the upcoming week by me giving you my thoughts on the stock market. And again, this is just my thoughts. That's what makes a market, right? Buyers, sellers, different opinions. So this is just my opinion on the upcoming market. I'm going to be talking about SPY, the IWM, VIX, the Qs, a few of oil stocks and ETFs, potential little trade setups. So let's get right into the video. First up, we got a SPY. SPY, we got a descending triangle on the daily. And basically that means is, hey, we're making highs and lower highs, but we have this flat bottom. Definitely this flat bottom, kind of at this like 432 area. So high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. You know, bottom, bottom, bottom. And it looks like we could be having a little bit of support from Friday. If you watch the video before Friday, I was saying, hey, expected move says 432 is that bounce point. Well, where do we bounce from? Hey, right from 432 all the way up to almost 438. And then they just gave it up into the close. So it'll be pretty interesting to see where the market opens up on Tuesday. Short week. And the expected move for SPY this week is about $7.60. So that means this week you would not expect SPY to go much higher than about, 441. You wouldn't expect SPY to go much higher than like 441, 442 might be that resistance area. And on the downside, SPY might be starting to retest these lows down at 424. And again, the market just looks a little bit more bearish since we have a descending triangle. Even if we get a bounce, we could just hit resistance, put in another lower high, come and hit support, bounce on support, and then break down. And that's where the big breakdowns happen, is when we really start to come underneath those lows. So it's really important to keep an eye out on the SPY. It's a little bit shaky. There's like I would say there's like, a 65% chance that we either get a bear break this week or next week. So slightly more bearish than bullish as of right now on the SPY. And if we quickly check out something like the VIX, if the VIX starts to really come above this 30, we could get that breakout. So high, low, lower high, higher low, lower high, question mark? Or are we going to make a higher high? And the VIX and fear will be breaking out. That will be coinciding with the SPY. Likely having some high bear volume. If SPY doesn't have high bear volume, the VIX could still just kind of like melt on off. So they're not exactly correlated, but there's something to keep an eye on if we're going to see heavy liquidations in the market. So that's the VIX. Check out the IWM. IWM, 209. 209 of 30 was that little wick top. Even if the IWM is bouncing, 214 is another resistance. But it looks like the IWM might just kind of chop and go sideways to slightly lower. And if it really starts to come on down, look for the IWM to get absolutely murdered. There's stocks like GME and AMC, the Kool-Aid stocks. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that little short clip right there. But the GME AMC are in the IWM. Gives a higher chance of the IWM probably breaking down, coming down to this, in an extreme case, 170. I'm on the boat of maybe like 180, 185. So slightly bearish on the IWM. Let's check out the Qs. And actually, I'm not going to break down the QQQ. Let's look at that /NNQ, the NASDAQ futures. And look at this. This traded yesterday on Sunday. And Qs not looking so hot. They're already retesting those fear lows. So not super good for the Qs. Even on a bounce, there's still resistance on the Qs. So if we just grab this little pivot right here, we broke that support. If we bounce, it's probably going to be some resistance, and then we could snap on down. But otherwise, it looks like we could just be getting clapped right away early in the week. So we'll keep an eye out on that. Let's briefly break down some components in the Qs. Apple, we talked about that short setup at about 178. Didn't get as high as that, went as high as 177, 176.50. Apple, I still think we could probably see Apple, down here at the 155, maybe down to 150. We might just do a slow kind of rollover. So that's just my opinion though, right? None of this is, I'm not telling you exactly where the stock's going to go. This is just from this chart formation. It'd be very weird to just do this. That's the least likely scenario. What most likely happens is a loss of momentum occurs. Maybe it finds some support at the trend line. We'll have to reevaluate that intra-week. But that's Apple. We can check out Amazon. Amazon talked about Amazon shorts. Amazon not having the best week. Same thing, descending triangle. Even if we do bounce, you'd expect a lower high. and then eventually a breakdown. So there's a higher chance that we break down than higher on Amazon. And that, again, we got to look for that breakout on volume for that big extension, and probably that breakdown underneath 3,000 a share. So if Amazon's underneath 3,000, stay wary. Otherwise, if Amazon's coming above, 3,200, yeah, maybe it can get that bull break, but not looking the hottest on Amazon. And boy, you could see on Friday I was trying to get filled on Amazon puts, and boy, sometimes the liquidity is just really difficult on the Amazon contracts. If you got to pay to play, and you got to pay an extra few $100s if you want to get into that short trade. But nice, good downside action on Friday for Amazon. Facebook had a decently bad day on Friday, and I was saying, hey, I'm looking to buy the dip at about 207 Facebook. I've been talking about that as a weekly support level on Facebook. Actually, I can just do a quick retracement. Let's go from this low, 137, up to 384, low to high. Facebook, 190 looks to be like that kind of retracement level that could be some support. But either way, I did grab the dip on Facebook on Friday. Tried to grab a breakout at 210. Did not work out. Stopped out. And gosh, Facebook just absolutely clapped me. And it's just one of those things where, boy, bought the dip. And the dip kept dipping. And I thought it was a reasonably good risk to reward trade since Facebook was down on its 12th day. This is the first time I've really actually bought Facebook with any decent position size. There have been some good day trades in the middle. But even so, let's see if Facebook can still get that bounce. Otherwise, it looks like I'll just have to cut the position early in the week. So I'll keep an eye out on Meta. Tesla, still holding my last third of that short position. I felt like a crazy monkey trying to short Tesla at 940. And it kept on chopping, but eventually we started to actually crack down. So still holding Tesla, still want it underneath that 910 level. And looks like that's probably going to occur for the next week or so. Unless, of course, the market has crazy bullishness, in which case I'll be changing my mind on that. But Tesla, this actually still could be an ascending triangle, but yeah, most of the time this goes sideways to slightly lower. And if it really starts to sell off and come underneath that 800, the selling could start to accelerate towards the downside. So be careful on something like Tesla. We got Microsoft over here. Microsoft already kind of cracking lower. That dividend, I don't know if that dividend's going to save Microsoft or not. Microsoft, look for it to probably head to about 263 within a month or two, maybe 3 months. So still leaning bearish on Microsoft. We got Googs, and poor Googs, the gap ups were for selling, and Googs is actually getting destroyed right now. When the dust settles, Google's going to be one of my top picks for buying, and especially for trading for the stock split. That's what I'm most excited for, just at least trading Google. Google's not really tradable, in my opinion, based off the bid-ask spreads, not enough liquidity, not enough interest. So Google, yeah, it's still my largest individual stock holding, but I'm not as invested as I once was. I want to wait to add a lot of exposure to these markets until they show signs of a reversal. So until then, just going to be sitting in just neutral deltas, meaning I don't make too much if the market goes up, don't make too much if the market goes down. Long Facebook, short GameStop. That's kind of how my portfolio is as of this point, current moment. But that's Google. Netflix didn't really do too much. If you remember, we want to catch trades like these U-shape and then boom, breakout. Nice, good, explosive breakout on Netflix that day. We talked about Netflix over 390, Netflix over 400. Boom, nice, good 18% move. Now the Netflix just looks ugly. Like this is just an ugly, tight little trading range. Not too much, of course, intraday, this is a 5% range, but yeah. So this is pretty simple. Netflix could break out over 403. Sure, that'd be cool. Otherwise, it could also break down underneath 386. So Netflix bearish underneath 386, bullish above like 403. So that is Netflix. Quickly check out something like Uber. This is a bearish descending triangle formation. We hit resistance. We did not break above it and hold, as this scenario was said if you wanted to be a bull on Uber. We hit right into resistance after earnings, sold right on off. Whenever you retrace 100% of the move, yeah, you could probably retrace a little bit more. We got a little H pattern, little N pattern type of guy going on here. And Uber looks bearish underneath 34. So I might short Uber underneath 34. I might just do it with put spreads, keep the risk in the spread. And or maybe if you really want, you can put a stop loss above like 37.50. Yeah, 3.5 point stop loss. Maybe you could see Uber underneath 30. That's if the market really gets bearish, but that's a potential little short setup underneath 34. What's cool about these setups is that they should work like right away. If they don't work right away, you just cut and run. So maybe it could just be like a time stop, like, hey, if there's no daily close underneath 34, that could just be another way to potentially stop out of Uber. But anyways, that's Uber. Let's check out Moderna, mRNA, same thing, descending triangle. We've been talking about Moderna bear, H pattern, bear flag drop. Bear flag. This is the good drop right here on Moderna. Nice, good move. We talked about that on stream. Now we got another bear flag. So guess what? I've got to assume that there's going to be another drop on Moderna. So Moderna bearish underneath about 140. And that's where this alert is. We're underneath these flat bottoms. And, Moderna, we'll see how far it can go down if it does drop. But at least probably about 10 to 20 points, maybe 127 is that next area. I wouldn't be surprised if it even came underneath 117 on Moderna. So bearish on Moderna. What's super cool about this is now that we have a tightening range, you can have a tighter stop. I would say your stop could be, well, that's a wide stop, 153. Again, this might be one of those similar situations with Uber where if Moderna jabs back higher and it's above 140, that could just be a cut on that short trade. So keep an eye out on something like that, Moderna, Uber. Well, let's check out oil. /CL. Oil, nice good channel upward. We've been talking about this for a while. Nice good channel upward. We talked about the USO call debit spread. I took off the call debit spread right over here. Could have left a little bit of money on the table, but I was still pretty happy with it. Nice good move. So if you want to be able to trade /CL, check out USO. That's my favorite vehicle. There's many other ways. You could trade the futures. You could trade individual stocks, but I like USO. It tracks it kind of good, kind of well enough, if that makes sense. But USO, great way to trade oil. But where's oil headed? It's still probably just going to steadily climb on higher, all the way up to this probably $100 a barrel. We'll see if there's resistance there or not. But chug-a-lugging on higher. I don't know if oil can go vertical unless there's some crazy problems happening in the economy. Let's hope that doesn't happen. So that's /CL. And so some components of that, oil-related stocks. Let's check out OVV. OVV, we did break bull out of this formation, 40.50. But what I'm looking at right now on OVV is these topping tails. Like, what's up with this? What's up with this? This candle started out nice and green, then gave up. Got a little bit tired. Doji candle, a little bit bear. In a little bit of a doji candle, kind of closing near the lows. It kind of just looks like there's just a little bit of loss of momentum in OVV. Options chain expected move for OVV is about $5.80. So this week, we can see OVV down at like 35.50. That's crazy. We can also see OVV at like 45.46, and that would just be another higher high. So higher high, or are we going to sell off? Your hint is if OVV is coming underneath like 39.73, it's probably going to come and see that 35. If OVV is breaking out and maybe coming above 42.60, you can probably see OVV at that 45 area. So that's OVV. Let's check out GILD. GILD clapped. This is a bearish chart formation. Earlier, nice good ace, nice good flag pattern. Do you see that? Beautiful. This is textbook. These are some of the moves that you want to catch. Catch one of those good moves with some good size, manage your risk well. Boom, you get paid really well. Drop, bear flag. That's a bear flag. That's a short setup. You can sell right there. You can put your stop loss above those highs. Another drop. Oh, and look, another textbook bear flag underneath the bull flag from earlier. This is just textbook. Boom, you can short sell. That's a little bit tricky because it gapped underneath from earnings. Gapped underneath, tried to reverse, failed. And now we just have another bear flag towards the lows. So GILD, bearish underneath 60.82. You could short it underneath there. It's a little bit extended to the downside, so I wouldn't short it just because it's extended. Good dividend, 73 cents. I would stay away on GILD. If we look at something like the weekly time frame, yeah, you don't like it when a stock breaks weekly support. Not the best of signs. 57.0 might be taken out. We'll see if we can't sell off a little bit more, then maybe get a weekly bounce, and then do something like that. But again, that's just speculation and me just drawing a bunch of random arrows. So that's all I have for today. Happy President's Day. Probably a pretty tough job to be a president. It's tough to please everybody. And, be sure to celebrate, get some good sleep. Lots of cool stuff coming with Weenie Trades. Be sure to check out the Vegas vlog uploaded for Weenie Trades members. Be sure to check out the Trader Talks. Lots of new content and stuff coming out. Links in the description. Thanks for tuning in. See ya.